What's going on, guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video. And today, well, you guys saw the title of today's video. I'm just gonna be talking about Jrue Holiday trades. It's basically another one of these unscripted videos, like the Chris Paul. Yeah, last time we talked about some possible Chris Paul trades to kick off this series. I think I will put a card in for that video above, but of course you guys know what to do. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please like the video as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers and it would be greatly appreciated. There's videos like this already on the channel and there will be more in the future, so if you like this type of content, subscribe. I will also be doing a Q&A when we reach 100 subscribers, so if you guys want to learn more about me and you like this type of content, well, subscribe if you haven't already. But of course, a report came out that the Pelicans are starting to shop around Jrue Holiday, and there's a high likelihood that he gets traded. Now, of course, he was very good for the Pelicans, you know, as a leader, and I think he averaged like 20 points per game with the Pelicans. You know, he's a pretty good player. I think he would be great for a lot of contending teams, so I'm going to get into the trades. And yeah, let's just start this thing off with my first trade, which is the Nets getting Jrue Holiday, the Pelicans getting Caris LeVert, Taurean Prince, and a second-round pick. Personally, I think this is not too bad of a trade for the Nets, for the Pelicans and the Nets. You know, the Nets, I mean, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, there have been rumors that they want a third star to, you know, be paired with them in Brooklyn. And I think Jrue Holiday is very good, you know. I mean, Brooklyn's defense, I mean, it's really kind of suspect, you know. They would be losing Taurean Prince in this trade. I mean, he's fine defensively. Kevin Durant, he's good defensively, but I mean, who knows? Because of his injury, there's a good chance his defense does get worse. Jarrett Allen, he's good defensively. He can, you know, protect the rim. He isn't great at defending the post. DeAndre Jordan, he's an okay defender, you know. He's a shell of himself. You know, he can do the same things as he used to, but just not at as high of a level. But I think this is great. You know, Jrue Holiday, he can play off ball. You know, he doesn't need the ball in his hands necessarily. You know, he's not too bad as a shooter. I mean, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they'll have the ball in their hands a lot. You know, now as for a system, I mean, I don't know what you could. Maybe you just run like Kyrie Irving is the ball handler, and then like Kevin Durant and Jrue Holiday are off ball more, you know, and Jrue Holiday would have really improved the defense. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, so it would be a really good trade. And for the Pelicans, you know, Caris LeVert, I think he has a lot of potential. He's a very good shooter, scorer, and he's also a really good playmaker, you know. So I think it would be great on this team, because on the Nets, you know, I just don't think he's going to be able to reach his potential with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So yeah, I think on the Pelicans, he would be great. They're a young team. He'd be a nice scoring option, you know. I think, you know, if Lonzo Ball, you could run a system where like Lonzo Ball and Zion Williamson run pick and rolls, and then Brandon Ingram and Caris LeVert have like run some off ball actions or whatever to get open looks from three. So yeah, that'd be really, I think that would be a great place for, this is a good trade if you ask me. Taurean Prince, I think they could definitely use him too as like a good bench player. And he's a pretty good role player, plus a second round pick. Who knows what they do with that. But enough with this trade. Let's go on to the second trade, and that's the one you're seeing in the 2K footage, which is Jrue Holiday to the Dallas Mavericks. And in the Mavericks would get Jrue Holiday, while the Pelicans would get Tim Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, and a second round pick in 2020. I think this is actually not that bad of a trade. You know, the Mavericks, they have a pretty good squad. You know, they just need to make some improvements to their team. I mean, for one thing, they need another ball handler on this team, because outside of Luka Doncic, there really isn't any other consistent playmaker. And because of that, Luka Doncic has to take basically all of his shots off the dribble. And Jrue Holiday, he's a really very good playmaker. He can play point guard too, and along with shooting guard, so that helped Luka Doncic, you know, have the playmaking load off of him, and he could maybe develop like an off-ball game too. So that would be nice to see him play off-ball. Plus, you know, you just get another great playmaker and shot creator on this team, which is something this team really needs. You know, for the Pelicans, Tim Hardaway Jr., he's a very nice player, good scorer, good shooter. Seth Curry, he's a very good shooter, one of the best shooters in the NBA. Plus, they also got a second round pick out of this. This is a nice trade for both sides. I mean, in terms of which one is better for the in terms of return, I mean, I don't know about that one. I guess in terms of young talent, you definitely get the Nets, but this is an alright trade, I would say. Next up, the third trade. In this one, I could definitely see happening, and there's a lot of rumors of this happening at the deadline, but I don't know if it'll happen. It's as likely now. But this trade is the Nuggets getting Jrue Holiday while the Pelicans get Gary Harris in 2022 first round pick. Now, I think this is not that bad of a trade either. I mean, personally, the Nuggets, I don't know if they're as intent on getting a third star now because of how well they were in the playoffs. Michael Porter Jr., I think in the offseason, as he works on some things in his game, and once he starts getting more playing time, he'll be a lot better. Gary Harris, I don't know if he'll be the same 2018 Gary Harris we saw, but I think if he can, be he can, score and shoot the ball when you need him to, just play really good defense. I think who knows, man. I think he'd still be fine with this team, but Jrue Holiday would definitely be nice on this team as a Nuggets fan. Now, personally, as a Denver Nuggets fan, I'd be okay with not trading for another star and just let the team develop. That would be completely fine with me, Jokic, he has very high potential. He hasn't even hit his ceiling yet. Jamal Murray, if he can be more consistent in the regular season and score like more than 20 points per game, I think he can be an all-star level player soon enough. Michael Porter Jr., he could average 30 points per game one day. I mean, Jrue Holiday, he would definitely be nice on this team. And I think if they really want to get another star on this team, then Jrue Holiday would definitely be nice. And Gary Harris, you'd get a nice you could say fresh start on New Orleans. Plus, the guy, I don't think he'll get as much shots as you would. I think he'd get more shots in New Orleans because, of course, their team is not as deep as the Nuggets. So yeah, that's kind of enough for that trade. The fourth trade I have is the Clippers getting Jrue Holiday, and the Pelicans would get Patrick Beverly, Visca Zubac, and a 2020 second. Now, I think this is not that bad of a trade personally. Now, of course, the Clippers losing Patrick Beverly would be kind of bad, but hey, they replaced him with someone who you could argue is better defensively. Plus, he's much better offensively, and he's a better player than Patrick Beverly. The guy can create his own shot, and he's also he can shoot the ball fairly well. He's also a very good playmaker, and the Clippers, they need a playmaker to run this offense, and I think Jrue Holiday can play point guard. So maybe you run a starting lineup of maybe Jrue Holiday, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, assuming they re-sign him, and then center, that would be an issue. I definitely see that as being an issue. I don't know if Montrezl Harrell is gonna stay with the Clippers, especially with some tension, I think, in that Clippers locker room. So who knows about that? I mean, they'll probably have to go out and sign a guy in free agency, or get somebody somehow. They'll have to find some way to get a center, but I do think this wouldn't be that bad of a trade for the Clippers or the Pelicans. The Pelicans would just get off of his contract. Patrick Beverly, I guess you could say he's a nice player to have because of his defense. Visca Zubac, nice center. They can use him as a bench player. And then you got a second round pick. So that's a nice trade personally. Next up for trade 5, the Bucks would get Jrue Holiday while the Pelicans would get Eric Bledsoe, Robin Lopez, in his 2022 second. Now, I think the Bucks could get Jrue Holiday. They might want to trade, because Jrue Holiday is definitely a guy they want. I think is a type of guy they'd really want to get. But I'm just not sure if the Pelicans would necessarily take this offer, because Eric Bledsoe can't necessarily fit well with. I don't think he necessarily fits well with Lonzo Ball. Of course, they'd make a very good defensive backcourt, but Eric Bledsoe, he's not a great fit with Lonzo Ball, so who knows what they do with him. They might have to use him as a sixth man. Robin Lopez, nice backup center, plus they do get a 2022 first. But I do think it would be nice for the Bucks, because Jrue Holiday would help Giannis Antetokounmpo stay. Now, I have heard reports on Twitter. I saw that there's a good chance he signs the Supermax extension or something like that. Yeah, the Supermax extension. I mean, who knows? But if there's a chance Giannis leaves, I think this should definitely help them. Jrue Holiday can create his own shot. Very good playmaker. Very good defensive player. I think he's definitely worse than Chris Paul. I guess you could say Chris Paul, except he's a worse shooter and he's a worse playmaker. And defensively, he's maybe, I don't know, maybe I'd argue Jrue Holiday I don't know, man. I don't know about the defense part, like who's better. I'm not gonna debate about it in this video, but I think it's a nice trade for the Bucks. I'm just not sure the Pelicans would do this. And for my sixth and final trade, well, we got the Hawks getting Jrue Holiday, while the Pelicans get Dwayne Dedmon, Kevin Huerter in a 2022 first. Kevin Huerter is a nice young player who can be a good role player. Dwayne Dedmon, he's not too bad at protecting the rim, and I guess you could make him the starter, maybe, or you just have him as a backup and you get 2022 first. Not a bad trade for the Pelicans. The Hawks, I mean, you know, Jrue Holiday, I will say, I think he's a very good, I think it'd be nice on this team because the Hawks, they already have enough young talent, right? I think if I'm them, I'm going to try and get some established win now players on this team to get this team in the playoffs. You know, Trae Young, I think you'd start run a lineup of Trae Young, Jrue Holiday, Cam Reddish maybe, and then John Collins and Clint Capella. Maybe you would insert DeAndre Hunter. I think they would probably put Cam Reddish as the small forward, but yeah, I think this would be great for the Atlanta Hawks because Jrue Holiday would be cover for Trae Young defensively, since Trae Young defensively is very bad, and Jrue Holiday on the other hand is very good defensively, so you'd cover there. Not only that, but the Hawks get, like the Mavericks, they need another playmaker, since when Trae Young does not have the ball in his hands, the offense falls apart. Jrue Holiday, he's a very good playmaker, so they can get Trae Young to start developing an off-ball game, and he can play off-ball more. And given how good of a shooter he is, I think if they can get him to, you know, play off-ball, and Jrue Holiday can handle the ball, and you know he passes it to him, and he gets some good open looks. That would definitely help his stats, of course, but it would also just help the offense be a lot better, you know. So I think this would be a great trade for the Hawks. As for the Pelicans, I mean, it's an okay trade, I guess. And looking back at all the trades, I mean, personally, I think the Nets, Mavericks, or the Nuggets probably have the best offer. So that's kind of all I have to say, though, for these trades. With all that being said, that is the end of today's video. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please click the like button, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers. So if you guys like this type of content and you're a fan of the NFL or the NBA, click the subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers. I will be doing a Q&A when we reach 100 subscribers. So if you guys want to learn more about me, click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you enjoyed this content too. But with all that being said, I'm out, you guys.